Hey, boys and girls, we're live with Dart Schmucktard and Organ.
Silence.
Ooh, you can't hear me?
Can you hear me?
Oh, can you hear everybody?
I hear everything.
You hear?
You good?
Okay. So, silence. That's what you meant. Somebody's echoing a little bit.
Am I echoing?
I don't know. I'm not sure which one of you are.
I had the live stream unmuted for a bit, so I had to mute it. That's probably me.
Of course you did.
Yes.
How about now?
You know, it's hard to get good help these days.
Well, should have had Scott up here.
Yeah, Scott is going to sleep. We're still echoing a little bit. I don't know why. Not sure what it is. Somebody's echoing.
Is it echoing now?
No. No, it's not.
Try it out. I just unmuted.
Okay. Is it echoing now? No. We're not echoing. Echo. Oh, anyway. So this is a dual intervention for both Andrew's problem with Neph, going on Neph streams and getting booted a record 3 times. And it's also it's also a little bit of an intervention. I don't know if you can hear this or not, but this is the beginning of the stream. Let me see if everything's coming through okay. I got to
Jefferson is here. Hey, Jefferson.
Hey, Jefferson. Okay, listen to this now.
Okay.
Good afternoon, folks. I hope you're having a good weekend.
I don't know if you heard the pop, the beer pop, and then he threw down the can opener. But that happens a number of times during the stream, and as it progresses, he gets more and more belligerent, and he slurs more and more words as we move along. So, my theory is that either there is something wrong with his health, or he is drinking a bit during these Sunday afternoon streams. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
That's not a theory. That's a hypothesis.
It's a it's a hypothesis. I'm sorry. I use theory in the colloquial sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that on that site.
Yeah, that's okay in the colloquial sense.
Yeah. More sciencey channels. Here was the
toes in the past. And because of genetic entropy, possibly changes to the environment, the creatures shut off the genes to make more digits.
Okay, genetic entropy and the environment causes the thing to have less toes, is what his theory is. But
and that today
doesn't seem like genetic entropy.
No.
Exists with 4 or 5.
Can't people be born with 6 fingers sometimes?
They are on a rare occasion.
So it sounds like that's kind of an easy modification that could be a really simple, like just a genetic.
I don't know. I'm gonna listen
between the time that it exists and modern modern Chinese and Japanese salamanders exist, which is today, and that would be hundreds of millions of years. It would be the dinosaurs went extinct 65 or so million years ago.
Did they?
Yeah.
The evolution.
Where did he throw him out exactly? He threw Mr. Lizard out. I don't know if it was there or if it was earlier. But anyway, Lizard's out. And later on here, we have Raccoon out. So Will the Raccoon is calling himself a theistic evolution. First of all, listen to this.
Nev, I'm not.
I just want to set this up for you so you know who you were talking to.
I just said it. I'm not a theistic evolutionist. No, I just said it.
Say you're a theistic evolution.
Then why? Then what are you bashing me on?
Your crazy ideas about humanity and the timeline for man's creation.
What crazy idea?
Are false.
What crazy idea?
You don't believe man was created about 6,000 years ago?
Yeah, I do. There's 5,773 years old.
Oh, okay. What's the other guy? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Neff.
Okay.
So
Neff confused. He got confused by Will's calling himself a theistic evolutionist and didn't know who he was talking to, even though he's been talking to him, I think, for about an hour, and completely missed it. But anyway, so then this happened.
Hold on, I'm asking you a question, and after
if
we'll
you
go
don't
through
stop
that.
talking over me, I'm going to kick you.
Oh, so now you're getting
You
offended.
can't have a conversation if you won't stop talking.
Yeah, so now your heresy
Okay,
are
good
being
night.
exposed. Yeah,
If
exactly.
You
That's
can't
what
have a
it's not.
conversation. Do you want to have a conversation, or you just want to talk over me?
Well, I won, but you don't.
Well, you don't want
Man, pot meat kettle at this point. Sweet Lord.
for the
Let me
last
make this
10 minutes. For the last 10 minutes, I've been trying to say a word, and you won't stop talking over me.
Here, let me make this
So
simple.
if you want to
John,
have a
first-
conversation, we can do so. Not while you're
I'll make-
constantly talking over me. Okay. So
I'll make this
show
simple
me
for
a
everyone.
passage. I'm not talking to you.
No, I'm going to
Show
help
me.
you out.
I don't know. I just let him. Okay.
John 1:1.
Okay. Show me the passage, and then tell me why it states that God is.
Hey,
three
John
people.
1:1.
No. You're already talking over me. I didn't get to finish my statement. I can't get one sentence out of my mouth. You don't start talking over me.
Do you want the Bible passage or not, Neff?
I didn't get to finish the sentence. And then I said, and then show me. And you say, John 1:1, John 1:1. Shut up until I'm done with my sentence.
Oh, the demon are coming out.
All right. Good night. Don't come back.
that was Raccoon. Okay, so that's what you were dealing with, Andrew.
Man, Neff was not having a good night that night, was he?
No, he tossed Mr. Lizard out earlier. Then he tossed Will out, and I don't know if he tossed anybody else out, and he tossed Andrew out 3 times. So here's Andrew in at this point, and I think
You pushed him backstage, by the way.
I pushed who backstage?
Andrew, there he is.
Oh, fuck, did I do that?
You didn't push me backstage. My internet just cut off for a sec, so I had to reboot. Sorry.
I see. I didn't notice you. Okay. Anyway, did you listen at all to what you were dealing with when he was talking to Will? He was slurring his word. He couldn't say sentences, and he was yelling and all sorts of stuff.
I saw part of that.
Yeah, so I'm guessing blood sugar.
Mm.
Do you think it's blood sugar? I don't know. I'm not
Also,
entirely sure.
I would like to welcome someone in the chat who's very kind and has always been support to me in standing for truth streams. Hey, Rue from the Dot.
Rue from the Dot. Hi, Rue from the Dot. Okay, so now let's see. You came in here, but I'm not sure if you started talking. They were still arguing over the Trinity, weren't they?
It was a little bit before I started.
Funny, you
talking.
raised
Okay, let's see if this
this is
is.
those who are in Christ and changes.
Yeah, they're still arguing over the Trinity. So I think
when he gets back.
Okay.
I'm going to try and answer the title question, which I think is a silly question.
Okay. Cool. Hopefully you can.
I don't think we've been in the same stream together, have we?
Maybe. I've seen you before.
Yeah, I've seen you too. Just I don't know if we've been in the same stream before, but nice to meet you in person, I guess. Haha.
maybe it was
Isn't it
here.
true that creationists have addressed this argument of genetic similarities and shown that there are countless incongruencies with the evolutionist argument about genetic similarities demonstrating that one type of life is related to another? Haven't you heard those arguments yet?
Okay, what arguments? Incongruencies. So he's just gonna reference random arguments heard on the internet on Standing for Truth channel, or what is he doing? I haven't heard any of those arguments. But Andrew?
Is he gone
Andrew?
again?
I don't know. Maybe he's gone again. Maybe we're having internet connections.
I guess, yeah, I took his sentences the way you did, too, which is, probably he just heard random parts of the internet saying these are issues, and somehow that means science has a problem with it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, they keep saying, "Oh, evolution has been refuted." When? What? Show me the paper. Oh, Andrew's gone again. Let's see if he comes back. We'll wait. This can be a little difficult if he's got bad internet.
Yeah.
We don't have any geology stuff for you tonight, but boy, there's a lot of geology stuff going on in Standing for Truth channel and a few others. Are you back, Andrew?
There he is.
Why does it keep doing that?
Because you went on Neph stream and God is mad at you.
Yes,
Oh,
the
no.
internet is very pissed.
Yeah, it starts doing the loading screen for the share screen, and then suddenly it stops talking altogether.
Huh.
That's so weird.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
sorry about that.
Okay.
I hope this doesn't become a problem.
Okay, so we just got through the incongruencies part that he's telling you about. That there's all kinds of. Are you aware of all the incongruencies? Are you?
Mostly the incongruencies are at very, very deep in the tree of life, and they mostly result from the fact that if you go back that far in time or in tree space, basically, in terms of branching points, the farther back you go, the more I guess time there is for phylogenetic signal to be lost. And that means that it's harder and harder to sort out the relationships. So of course there are going to be incongruencies. No one says it's an easy job sorting out the tree of life, but we've done amazingly good so far.
Well, but that's not an incongruency. That's just an open question. I mean, there's
that too.
Yeah, but he doesn't bring any up. So
yeah, I was hoping we could talk about it later, but then the kicks started happening.
Yep, let's listen.
Yes, and I can address them, but first I'd like to show this paper if you don't mind. So this is the title.
This paper is linked in the description, boys and girls.
This paper is Statistical Evidence for Common Ancestry, Testing for Signal in Silent Sites by these authors.
Statistical evidence. All right, so now let me ask you about that. They're pointing to similarities in genetics, probably mostly protein codes, I imagine.
No.
Okay. Well,
no.
Then what if they're pointing to genetic similarities, are they not?
Not that either.
Then I dismiss it immediately.
Okay, can I read it?
Then it's worthless. Because if it doesn't point to genetic similarities, then it's pointing to is morphological similarities, right?
If it's not genetic similarities, must be morphological. Yeah, or if it's not protein similarities, then it's morphological. Is where he's going with that.
You see what he did there? If it doesn't compound with his understanding of phylogenetics, that, by the way, is certainly flawed, then it can be dismissed out of hand.
I spent an hour with this guy trying to tell him that you can change if you change a nucleotide. Sometimes it does not change the amino acid, and if you change an amino acid, sometimes it does not change the function. And I had a 1 hour debate with him, and he absolutely would not budge. He insists that if one amino acid changes, that the protein will fail, completely fail. So that's where he's coming from, and he hasn't updated his views since. But anyway, so we'll just listen to a little bit.
It's genetic,
and then we'll do the paper.
But I wouldn't call it. It looks at similarities.
Wait, is it genetic or is it not genetic? Is it based upon the similarity between protein codes between different species, or no?
Kind of.
The particular part I'm going to show is about amino acid invariant nucleotide.
Okay, so it is.
Yes,
Why can't you just say yes?
I don't like the term similarity.
Well, it does. That's what you're positing. Why should you not like what you're positing?
Because that's not what I'm positing.
Right. That's right. It's based upon the similarity in genetic codes of protein sequences between different families of life. Is that not correct?
Oh, we lost Andrew again.
Well, it's not just similarity.
Is that not correct?
Okay, repeat the question.
No or yes? Is the basis of this paper the similarities between protein codes between different families of life, or no?
In the way you phrase it, not exactly.
Okay, so you can't tell me what you're talking about because you're saying this way, that way. You don't know. When you know what you're talking about, come back.
What?
First boot.
Oh darn! I missed it.
Yeah, you missed the boot. You want to hear the boot again?
Sure.
2, 3. We'll go back. 20 seconds.
Of this paper, the similarities between protein codes between different families of life, or no?
In the way you phrase it, not exactly.
Okay, so you can't tell me what you're talking about because you're saying this way, that way. You don't know. When you know what you're talking about, come back.
What? Oh, there we
go. That was brutal.
So,
that was brutal.
All right, we got to do intervention stuff here.
Yeah.
Andrew, what are you expecting when you go to Nephilim? Are you expecting him to act any differently?
More and more, I don't think that's the case.
Okay. So you see the futility in this conversation, right? Like I unsubscribed to him like 2 or 3 months ago because I got tired of trying to talk to him.
I'm not subscribed to him.
Well, point is, I don't go to streams anymore because they're not fun. Because he always you got like a 60-40 chance of something happening or jack shit happening. You know.
Yeah.
I more just go there to, to be frank, I'd go there because I learn new things and I'm trying to test them out with kind of the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah, you didn't get very far today.
No.
So the other 2 boots are almost identical to that boot. Do you want to just go through the parts where you get thrown out?
Sure, I guess.
Okay, you're in at 4:33. You're out at 4:43. Oh my God, you lasted a long time, 10 minutes. But you only talk for about 3. So you're in at 4:45 and you're out at, wait a minute, 20 seconds later? What? Did I get that right? Hang on a second here. I don't think I couldn't
think
get
so.
I'll give you another shot. I'm going to ask you this question. Is the paper that you posted a discussion of the similarities in protein codes from one species to another?
In a sense, yes.
In a sense, not good enough. See you later. Come back when you can ask my question.
Well, can I at least share the paper?
Okay. And let's see here. Okay, you come in at you lasted 7 minutes this time. So
okay.
I don't know why you do this.
I don't either.
Okay. You managed. You got the paper up. That's good. It's a good start. Oh, you're out. What the? I don't know. Anyway, and then Nephilim's alone, and there's like this silence, and then you hear another bottle open. You know, I don't know if he's drinking RC cola or.
Do we want to play the clip before that, like the minute before that I got kicked?
Oh, sure. Yeah, is that where you told him what he wanted?
Correct. They also found that phylogenies, hypotheses of phylogenies of various primate groups are much more congruent. They show a higher hierarchical structure than would be expected under separate ancestry.
Well, that makes no sense.
By chance.
Because we don't know. I mean, it's no wonder if God created similar systems in different original kinds that many things would correlate and have the same or similar particular areas of the genome because they function to do the same thing.
Sure, but that's
yeah, but we're talking about silent mutations, which do not have any effect on function, right?
Right.
Yeah.
This paper is trying to address because the position of the codons shouldn't should vary much more than is shown in this paper if separate ancestry were true, because
So-
the third position of the codon doesn't affect the amino acid usually.
So what assumptions are built into believing that this similarity can't exist if common ancestry were true?
I don't understand the question. Can you
Then you don't
rephrase
have
it?
any argument. Then you've brought nothing.
I'm
you
not saying.
You
I'm
failed.
saying.
You failed. See you later.
Okay. Yeah, it's about enough of that, eh?
Yeah, his jackass meter was like through the roof for that conversation.
Yeah,
Criminy.
pretty bad. And then the rest of the stream was them arguing about the Trinity and all that. It was kind of a shit show.
Kinda.
Kind of, yeah. It was pretty bad. I don't know. I guess people have YouTube sites so they can express themselves, right? And he certainly. Oh my God! Did we lost him again? Wait a minute. How did you come back automatically? Oh, that must be.
Why is it doing this?
It must be that StreamYard script that brought you back automatically this time. Normally it doesn't.
It's like I said, it's like you share the screen, then it starts going to the loading picture, and then it suddenly stops playing noise altogether. I don't know why.
I don't know. So, let me get you to the right spot in this paper, and I'm going to go chase some raccoons off the fence. If you guys can I hear you?
we can manage the time.
Yeah, if you manage for a minute. Let me get you to the right spot. So you want to go through the abstract, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So,
the part I
Andrew,
was
let's
trying to
pretend
show.
that Neff would have let you talk for more than 10 seconds at a time. What would you have said?
About the paper.
Yeah. What was your point for going to his channel? Details.
Trying to show this quote and explain to him how we already know evolution is shown.
Yeah, go.
Okay. So basically what this paper was trying to do is trying to do free tests. So the quote says, when these, darn it, I can't read it. But basically what the paper was trying to do was to look how much variation there is among the silent codon positions of different primate orders. Different primate species, and to see how much variation there was and whether that variation was statistically higher than would be expected by separate ancestry and/or chance. And what they found was that the variation was statistically lower than what would be expected for separate ancestry alone, and was in line with what common ancestry predicted. The other tests I can remember was basically, I think the second test was basically how the hierarchical structure of these third position codon sites, how they varied with respect to each other to form a nested hierarchy, and whether that hierarchy matched up with the protein coding parts of the genome. And of course it did. So that's another point for common ancestry. And then the final thing was, I think, just the hierarchical structure of the nucleotides themselves, just to see how congruent it was. And all three tests, they said, basically showed that separate ancestry is pretty much refuted for primates, which of course creationists think is its own, or not its own, is made up of separate kinds, because humans aren't apes apparently.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
So Neff's whole argument was like a complete non sequitur, essentially. Like the discussion you were trying to have is not the discussion Neff wanted you to have. Hence the
Yes.
boot hammer. Okay, yeah.
he wanted to talk about differences in proteins and amino acids, and this is about silent mutations, basically, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, and the thing that always gets me is whenever you talk about phylogenetics, you're bringing up basically the creationists talk about, oh, it's similarities, and similarities are evidence of common design. Well, it's not so much a grouping of two, more like a comparison of three. The numbers in this case being in terms of the taxa you're studying. So if you take their conception is that if you take two taxa or two species, families, etc., and look at them, look at their features, and compare them, if they're similar, that means they're related. That's not exactly how it works. It more works like you have these two over here. I'm making an image here, but you can't see it. You have these two species over here, and they're more similar to each other in comparison to this third one. That means they share presumably a more recent common ancestor with each other than with the third one. That's how phylogenetics works. So instead of thinking of it in twos, you should be thinking of it in threes, and then going beyond that, etc. That's where the nested hierarchy comes in.
So on this illustration here, the observed is gray, in gray, and the expected would be the expected for common for separate ancestry.
I think separate ancestry. Yeah, they're basically looking at the entropy, which I think is the variation in the codon sites.
Yep. And so we're seeing that they don't match up very well.
Yeah. The p-values are extremely low.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I think this is the same paper. Basically, a professor in a debate with another creationist was going over this exact paper, I think, and the p-values he said were like it would be about as low getting a or as probable as getting a 1 in 40 billion chance or worse for separate ancestry. It was that low of a statistical significance.
So let's see for the created kinds. Okay, if they created, so what do the creationists claim about the creative kinds of primates? What do they think there's more than one?
I'm pretty sure, because obviously you have to have monkeys separate from apes and apes separate from tarsiers, and because they all look different. And obviously, according to the creationists, if they look different, they are different.
Right.
Which is another thing, because that's phonetic similarity. That's overall morphology. That's not looking at the details of it, which is what phylogenetics does.
And the things we're looking at here are these silent mutations. Basically, they're neutral, so they should not be affected by any kind of selection or what is it? Congruent evolution or whatever.
Convergent evolution.
Yeah, convergent evolution. I'm sorry, got the word wrong. So it should be affected by that, and that's why they pick primates. And also, primates are fairly recent, so that there's not a lot of noise generated. But there's no reason other than mutations. And the other thing that they don't mention in this paper, and I was talking to you about that, if they'd only been created 6,000 years ago, and Big Daddy had selected these proteins, there should be very little variation. If the proteins have the same function, they should be identical, because the chance of a mutation, even a neutral mutation, in that amount of time is pretty small. So there's no reason for these non-conserved sites to be changing the way they have at all between species. And then the fact that we can find hierarchies in them, and relatedness based on what we think is descent, I think is pretty damning evidence for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's pretty surprising, because Just a Walking Fish actually posted this in the chat. They think there are 16 primate kinds.
Oh, do they?
AID.
Okay, so you got that's a Barminology link. Oh, I love. Oh, Answers in Genesis. Oh, that sounds like Answers in Atheism. Wonder why those two sites sound so similar.
Crazy
They
how
must
that
be-
works.
Did they copy me? And bastards, I'm copyright striking them. Okay, I'll put that in the description as well. Walker, thank you. A little Barminology for us. How many kinds again?
16, according to AIG.
How many goddamn animals were on that ark?
50
That'd be
bajillion.
nice to know, right?
Yeah.
You,
That's
fi-
been
you
pretty
figure
snowy.
with 2,000 years. What? How long has modern science been existing? Newton. However long creation science has existed, you think they'd be able to answer that question by now? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why humans don't have as sharp a sense of smell anymore. Because God in his grace took the sense of smell away from those poor bastards that were on that ark.
Hmm.
That's my hypothesis.
Can we also talk about the fact? Is anyone familiar with a mantis shrimp?
oh yes,
Yeah, like it's
Shrimp.
this is a question I like to ask, and it's a phylogenetic question again, but like it's along the same lines. Like, why is there so much variation in these forms? Like eyes, for instance, mantis shrimp have different eyes than us, and squid have slightly different eyes than us, and planarian flatworms, for instance, have just like little light sensitive patches on their heads. Like why are there so different forms? And of course, like you can say a designer did that, but the only way you can say that is like, well, he just decided to do it that way, which isn't an explanation. And it's
Why didn't he make plantimals too?
yeah. Screaming designer said so is by definition ad hoc. Like there's nothing that I can gain from that statement.
exactly.
But you keep making it.
Goddamn
and
mosquito.
that's pretty much the best answer they've given to me so far.
That's the only answer. I've been doing this for a long time. That's the only answer you ever get is because God wanted it that way. And then I guess we have to shut up and accept that. And science you don't need to think about it because God just did it. And why discuss it? For his glory or something.
For the glory.
Yeah.
Look at this dude.
Mantis shrimp.
No, they're little badasses.
Oh
They
yeah.
can break glass. If you put one in a tank, it can shatter the glass if it wants.
And
Really?
aren't they like really aggressive? They'll attack other fish in there.
Yeah, one of my shows my kid likes is Octonauts, and they have a pretty awesome episode about mantis shrimp where they're like luchadors, and they're fighting over like their pride of that part of the sea. It's a real good show. If you got kids, I'd recommend it.
Those are cool dudes. So they can break the glass by just like ramming into it?
They snap their like claws or whatever, and they can do it so fast. It's like
Wow.
they can superheat the water to knock something out, or it can send like a shockwave that can like knock out like large fish and stuff like that.
How'd that evolve?
Jesus.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and they also was it 12 or 13 different kinds of color receptors compared to us are free. I think it was 12. I'm not sure.
Yeah, everything about them is just crazy cool.
Yeah. How about octopuses?
What is it? Octopuses, not octopi anymore.
No, it's not octopi.
What the hell did look? Standing for Truth came up. Why did Standing for Truth come up on my search for wiki? Nope, no results.
Oh.
Aw, shucks. Okay.
So Orge, I know this isn't your specific field because you're not a paleontologist, but like, don't you just like it how they go through the fossil creationists, go through the fossil record, and it's basically all these different species lived at exactly the same time before the flood.
Yeah. Everything somehow managed to clade down into their individual like dog, and there was all these things before the flood, but we don't know when the flood was. And then all the bones survived, but only some of them survived. And I don't know. If someone could tell me a straight story, that'd be one thing.
And then they were geologically sorted by taxonomy rather than by water pressure or density or whatnot.
Yeah, the flood was strong enough to destroy the world, but weak enough to preserve ripple marks and worm casts and trace fossils. And is able to do both these things. And we have, we have fossilized like fern plants that survived the flood, but we only have 8 T-Rex skeletons or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been listening to the flood geology stuff, and they were talking about I think it was Michael Ord that was talking about I think it was Ord. He was talking about how there were these quiet times during the flood, and then there were these other cataclysmic kinds that actually moved mountains, right, and created mountains and crap like that. And then there were quiet times. There was a quiet time when the flood washed in a whole bunch of sediment, and then some dinosaurs crawled out and laid some eggs, and then all of a sudden a tsunami come and blew and buried them with more sediment.
But wasn't the flood 40 days and 40 nights to cover the earth, and then it stayed covered for a year? Yeah, so is it within those 40 days we had these soft and hot patches, and all the animals just happened to be dropping eggs at exactly that time?
Yeah, after the first 700-foot high tsunami, the dinosaurs they dried off. They sunned themselves for a little while. They went out and laid some eggs, made some tracks. Then they ran away from the tidal wave as it was coming in again, and you could see their tracks running, and then they got buried. So I think that is the story. That's their model, the creation model. But the more I hear about the creation model, the other interesting thing about the creation model is that any evidence that you find, they seem to find a way to put it into that creation model. That creation model keeps changing a little bit every day. To accommodate evidence.
It's kind of like one of those toddlers with those little different shaped holes, and instead of putting them in the correct hole, basically you're taking the shapes and remodeling them and then putting them in the hole.
Yeah.
And what is your explanation about the Ice Age? How long did the Ice Age last according to the flood model? It happened after the flood, right? Did you ever try to nail it down on how long after?
I don't think there's a unified theory for any of this stuff. It's just every creationist has their own variation on it, and that's apparently supposed to be good enough.
Now, aren't glaciers formed by, it doesn't melt every summer, and the snow keeps building up and building up and building up?
I think so.
Yeah, these thaw cycles.
And some glaciers are, a mile thick or kilometers thick?
Oh, very, very large, yeah.
Yeah, and then it melts in how many years? It basically builds up. Okay, for it to build up, it has to build up with snow that compacts into the ice. And that takes how long? And we have 6,000 years to account for all of this. I think somebody needs to go on. There you go, Andrew. Here's your mission. Go onto their stream and start asking them how long after the flood the Ice Age started, and then when did the ice sheets build up, and then when did the ice sheets, how far did the ice sheets move, and then how long did it take them to melt? Because I'd really like to know.
Also, a related question would be, how do they explain the various flood basalts deposits around the world?
Good question, right?
Yeah.
I asked McQueen that one time. How do you get non-aqueous igneous deposits during the time of the flood, sequenced between other supposed flood deposits. And he told me something about intrusive, like they were dikes and sills, when these large traps are extrusive, meaning they were deposited on the top. They cooled quickly due to air contact, but they're not underwater. But this supposedly happened during the flood, and these things are massive. And yeah, no, 1,000 different questions. Why science doesn't follow this stuff?
Hey, Jorge, do you also happen to know anything about radiometric dating techniques?
When I did my master's, I radiometrically dated my stuff in the sense that I sent it to a laboratory and got my results back. So I've used it, but I've never done it.
Okay. Do by any chance do you happen, because they claim that radiometric dating has all its problems and you can't confirm if any parent isotope or daughter isotope left or entered the sample, but aren't there ways to correct for that or measure that?
So first of all, scientists aren't stupid. Most of the arguments they make are from papers where people talk about these issues. The classic one, I think, is the let me try to remember it off the top of my head. I talked to people about this before. I think the C14 in diamonds and stuff like that, and C14 in coal. How you can't trust radiometric dating because we have this young stuff. Geologists have done papers and done studies as to, if you find this, here's the reasons why this is a faulty measurement. Clean this, do this, take your measurement again, you account for it. And creationists have taken that information and said, aha, therefore young Earth, because scientists acknowledge that this issue can happen. And this happens all the time with radiometric dating, and never mind how successful it is for thousands of different things every single day that scientists use. We can find papers where scientists talk about this as something you need to watch out for, and that somehow disproves it. It's like it doesn't follow. Like, scientists know we have these issues, and we've figured out ways to solve for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
How about carbon dating diamonds? How much carbon 14 are they? Or how much are they finding in diamonds? I mean,
it's hard to tell. They've only done like one paper where they tested like 6 diamonds.
And how much was it? I mean, wasn't it well underneath the air margins?
SFT has sent me stuff every once in a while on this so I can look at it. And yeah, like the margin of error spikes between like well below testable threshold to like 2 of them had above testable threshold, which screams contamination. You have an issue with your sample.
Right.
But somehow it's not contamination because we don't want it to be. And if you ever read actual creationist papers, like they spend like 3/4 of it talking about things that aren't related, and they have like two charts, you know.
Who did these diamond tests? Carbon 14 on diamond.
I think it was like Baumgartner, I want to say. I can see if I still have it in my
it was a creationist papers. It wasn't verified by multiple papers.
Well, they only ever do one paper in like the 80s, and that's enough. I did a response video to Matt Powell about Mount St. Helens and radiometrically dating Mount St. Helens to be thousands of years old, and it was just one paper. That's all they did, and it was from like 84 or something like that. And Kent Hovind and Matt Powell are still talking about it in 2021 as if it disproves radiometric dating because one guy messed it up in the 80s.
Hey, Walker.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry if you have any feedback or anything. I don't have my headphones with me.
No feedback. You're good. You sound really good. Yeah. I don't know.
So, Walker, what do you think of the stuff talked about so far?
I thought it was interesting. So I've been kind of in and out, but the paper that you were wanting to share with Neff, right? It was talking about primate behavioral patterns, right? Or no?
No. What?
I probably just heard that and was completely wrong.
Yeah.
It had to do with primates, but it was about how well you could determine the signal of.
They're talking about mutations in
Yeah.
neutral silent mutations in codons. Right.
Oh, okay. I have no idea where I heard that.
The specific paper is Bontrager et al. From 2016.
Was it
By
the
the
one
way-
that Erica did a video on a while ago?
Probably.
By the way, boys and girls, that paper is linked in my description if anybody ever cares to read my goddamn descriptions. Not that I'm
RJ
exempt.
probably does.
Huh? Yeah.
I said RJ probably does.
Oh, okay.
Well, oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just whining. I put a lot of work in my descriptions. Nobody ever reads them. Fuck y'all.
I got a paper here on, I think, coal in C14. If you want, I can throw that in the side chat.
Oh yeah,
it's just the title. It's by it's the Justice League of Creationists. Baumgartner, Humphreys, Snelling, and Austin. All of them.
The Justice League. Okay. Is this the one from 1984 or something like that? Or
no, this one's from looks like the 2000s, 2003.
Okay.
It's just a like a literature review of the one paper they did.
Wait, is that the rate thing?
Yeah, it's a rate thing.
Randolph reads my descriptions. Thank you, Randolph. You made me feel better. You made my day.
But that one's on coal, and when I try to bring this up, they don't like it because I've actually read the paper and they haven't. So they instead jump over the diamonds because I didn't study the paper, this diamond paper very well because it's the same bullshit.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can throw that into public chat and into my description. Maybe I can find that paper. Can we? Is that possible to find it yet?
Oh yeah, it's probably just I can Google it, I guess. But I don't want to do your
work. I ever pay attention to rate for is whenever I remember that they said they have to invoke miracles basically to explain like radiometric dating, and then that's enough for me.
Yeah.
So Walker, what do you? I guess going back to the original video of the stream, what do you think about this constantly rehashed argument from creationists that phylogenetics is just about genetic similarity?
Well, it's very clearly, I mean, it is obviously about genetic similarity, but the idea that it's, that it's just based on like similarity of function is ridiculous.
Right.
Multiple proteins can accomplish a more or less same function as long as they have the same active site. You have, within a 100 long amino acid chain, like 80 of them are free to be more or less whatever they want. And then also, you have the thing that you were talking about with the monkeys or the primates, where the third codon position can change quite frequently because, the genetic code's super redundant. That's something I've always wondered, and I've never really gotten a cohesive explanation from a creationist. Like, why do humans share third codon substitutions or synonymous substitutions with chimpanzees, right? And why do we have those same synonymous substitutions with chimpanzees while the chimps have different ones from, like, gorillas?
Right.
It makes sense as like a...
Why am I in here?
I don't know.
No, why are you here?
We're all asking. We've all been asking that since you joined. But the thing is,
Walker, the answer is Jesus, by the way.
No,
By the way, did you read the article, Speed?
The one about the RNA transcriptase?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. What you think? I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but what do you think?
I didn't get to the bottom of the article yet because I was on my phone and my son interrupted me. But it doesn't seem that surprising. It's kind of odd. Like there's a polymerase that and some repair polymerase, I think, that ends up. Anyway, that's another subject. We'll get into it maybe tomorrow. But anyway, let's see. What was I going to say? There's something else. Oh, the thing about codons being different, and I think God didn't have a sharp pencil. So he had like a dull pencil when he was penciling in the DNA.
Yeah.
So he made these mistakes. And like when he was working on this one line, like, the chimpanzees, basically he made the same mistake over and over again because his pencil was dull. And they sharpened his pencil and then he went and did another line. And I don't know. That's just my hypothesis. Does that model work?
I mean, to me, it legitimately does. Like, under the assumption of, some sort of creation event, it seems like God would have used humans as a template for chimpanzees or vice versa. Like that's what it legitimately looks like if you look at the DNA.
Yeah.
Right. And also like, I've asked this question recently, Walker, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think, like, the question, why do tuna and other bony fishes share more in common with us than they do with sharks, even though sharks and tuna live in the same environment? Why'd God design them that way if creation were true? Like, have you ever asked that sort of question?
Are you questioning God?
Not with sharks specifically. I mean, my whole shtick is sort of like Sarcopterygian fish. So,
okay,
but it's the same. It's more or less the same principle,
Right.
Why do coelacanths share so many things with us? Why when you do a phylogenetic study, right? Why do they nest with the other Sarcopterygian fish? Why does this match the fossil record as well? Why would a coelacanth and a lungfish nest as a sister clade to us instead of any of the actinopterygian fish?
Right. Yeah. Why does convergent evolution exist? But then when we go and look at it in a deeper level, the convergence actually follows the nested hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I very much agree with what you're saying there. If we didn't have the Bible, we'd still have the same evolutionary opinion of how stuff went, right? The evidence without Bible says exactly what we're saying it says. But now if you throw Bible in there, somehow the evidence is supposed to say something biblical. Like a chick, it's...
Hey, Speed, can you highlight Randolph's comment?
No.
No.
Midnight?
No, the other one.
Hold on. What does it say? Let's see. Fun fact: whales have bones in their fins that resemble the bones of human fingers.
You know what's even crazier than that? So do coelacanths. Except coelacanths have much less homology than the whale finger ones, because the whales are mammals, right? But the coelacanths are the most basal. What are they called? Low-fin fish, I think, is their colloquial name. Yeah, and so they have essentially the same bones that we have in our arms, but their arrangement is slightly different. And then you go back a little bit further, and you have the ray-finned fish, and the reason they're called ray-finned fish is because their fins aren't necessarily bony. They do have bones, right? But they're long and skinny bones that aren't homologous to anything that we have in our arms or legs.
I'd very much like to talk to a creationist sometime about that evidence in the textbook, because when I taught my biology class over the spring,
you taught a biology class?
I taught homologous structures to the class, to the high schoolers. And that's something that clicked very well for a lot of them, because it's kind of makes sense, us and lobe fish, both, if you take off all the skin, you can kind of see the resemblance. And that resemblance doesn't appear in other things that have appendages. You can make that distinction in appendage. And Kent Hovind, yells that that's not science and shouldn't be in high school textbooks. And I think it'd be interesting to talk to one of them and get a more in-depth understanding of why the fuck not.
Right, and that's another point. Like, common design is pretty ad hoc. I mean, like you said, if you show it to a high school student, it makes sense to them, and they don't have any bias. Well, not as much.
Yeah,
everyone has bias.
Yeah, none of the students are going into this zero biasy, but even it doesn't matter which side you're on. Like, showing two things are similar and then showing two things are different, you say which of these is more closely related. Well, the two things that are similar will probably more closely related. Yeah, and all the other evidence also backs that up. Look at the DNA. DNA also says they're more closely related.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. It is very impressive how all of the different lines of evidence converge. You know, like I said, also you can't really ignore the fossil record in this.
Oh, of course, no. I mean, you go through 5-6 different pieces.
I
of
mean,
evidence in high school.
hold on.
Point.
Creationists ignore the fossil record. That's what they always ask for it. There's no transitional forms. Like, are you blind?
Do I say it?
Yes.
Well,
transitional forms don't exist phylogenetically speaking.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I
I
mean-
was just going to say that.
You can't help yourself, can you?
No.
You gotta
Of
rain
course
on her
not.
parade.
Speed.
You gotta rain on her parade.
I mean, Andrew, just because they don't exist phylogenetically doesn't mean they don't exist.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying phylogenetically, it's a pretty useless concept.
Your useless concept.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Ooh.
Bone.
So, what's his name? Nephi was talking to Lizard Man, Mr. Lizard, about it was it Ichthyostega or Acanthostega?
Acanthostega.
Yeah,
what about it?
I don't know. They were going on about Nephilim was claiming that epigenetics and the environment caused the number of fingers to
And genetic entropy.
Okay, so
And-
that's
and-
another thing. I hate how creationists use epigenetics. I think Speed's probably in a similar boat.
Oh
But
yes,
It's
I hate that too.
It's essentially a woo word. You know, they use epigenetics in the same sense that a flat earther would use like relativity, or a new ager would use like quantum, right?
Yeah.
They just sort of
Oh,
throw it
no.
out and their audience eats the shit up because they don't, you know, it is a relatively complex topic.
Well, they think
You-
every difference within a kind is a result of epigenetics, and like
And it's
somehow
insane.
epigenetics is driving evolution. You know, which isn't 100% wrong, but it's about 95% wrong. So
If anyone's gonna take anything from this video, it's that to creationists at least, epigenetics is the new quantum mechanics.
yeah. When they discovered that, they got pretty excited. Boy, we know a lot about these bones. I wish I had bones, like some real
I
bones.
mean, you
Are
do
you a
have
sea
real
star?
bones.
I am. I have. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you knew that or not, but when you after you turn 60, you start dissolving your bones. By the time you're 70, I'm just a big pile of jello, and I just flop on the mouse pad. So
His raccoons are actually driving him. That's why he's so nice to them.
yeah. But actually, the bones are the second thing to go. Not
Does
the
anyone
first.
find it fascinating, or just a random question, but does anyone find it fascinating that we are more closely related to echinoderms than to like an insect, for instance? Like that's it. Yeah.
Well,
It
No, I
just-
find
Not
it
athletic.
fascinating. We're more related to a banana
Banana than what?
than right.
that
than
sounds like
than
a question, a
And a
sentence.
pistachio. We're
more
more
related to a
bananas.
banana than a
Pistachio?
Yes, yeah.
Almond, walnut,
E. coli.
E. coli is correct.
palm tree.
Out of all the ones suggested. Wait, I'm curious now. We're more closely related to banana than what?
And
Pistachio.
you know what? Fuck you. I can't think of anything. Sorry.
Okay. Just the fact that we're related to a banana in general.
Yeah.
Oh
Well-
no! Midnight is turning into Kent Hovind.
No.
So you
No.
believe you're
That's good.
related? A whale and a banana are related.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. Yeah. I can't.
That's another fun thing I learned from teaching biology is the fungi animal are closer than fungi and plant, and that always gets
cool one.
That one just blows students' minds. The PBS Nova Labs evolution game. That's like one of the first tree of lives you make, and it does a good job.
Did you know that
Pi isn't here?
Did you know that the fungal? Did you know that the fungal exoskeleton is actually made, or not exoskeleton? The fungal cell wall is actually made of chitin, which is the same thing that arthropod exoskeletons are made of.
Yeah.
Right, because they don't have the cellulose cell walls like plants do. They have a cell wall that's much more similar to animals.
Yeah, just crazy cool stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's very neat.
Science is fun.
I fucking love science. And no, I'm not referring to the website.
Mesomeres.
Mesomeres.
Yeah. Right. So I've been looking for really good books on fish anatomy. And it is amazing how little we have that I can find. So, Walker, you're my fish guy, right?
I'm actually kind of a dunce when it comes to fish.
You're more closely related to fish than you are bananas, right?
Ooh, tough subject.
I mean, we are fish. So
yeah,
I think it's kind of a weird question.
So why don't you have a recommendation for a fish anatomy book for me? It's my question. So,
I'm actually funny thing, I chose this name because I think like the phylogenetic quirks are interesting, but not necessarily because I'm super well informed on like fish anatomy and all that kind of stuff, or like fish in general. I know way more about like mammals and specifically like Pleistocene megafauna and stuff like that than I do about plants. Or not plants, fish.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Have you heard of the phylum Placozoa?
I do. Yes, I have.
Aren't they? They're fascinating little critters.
Yeah.
Wow. This is stuff I love. The comparative morphology, particularly of skeletons. It's you can just see it. It's really cool, really interesting. What do we got here? Eustenopteron.
I believe the old Kent Hovind response is, see, if you color them the same, then people are going to think they're the same.
Right.
You color them the same because they are the same. Yeah, it's kind of the fucking point.
Yeah, because you do comparative anatomy.
I'm sorry. I have to pack because I'm actually going out of town again tomorrow.
Yeah. I have to
life.
I have to go watch Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because I'm watching Startup, and God, is that a shit show? Holy shit! It's like what the hell is it? The Ozarks? Anybody watch that series?
Nope.
I saw a little bit of it, not much.
Yeah, it's just like one thing after another goes wrong, and it's just I don't know why I'm watching it. What is wrong with me? Maybe I should go on that stream.
Well, shall we?
I'm gonna get off with Walker. Well, I gotta go to bed. I was supposed to go to bed an hour ago.
You should go to bed.
My mind's not working. It's past my bedtime as well.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Payday 2, stealing money.
That's
That's way more exciting than my.
God damn it! I got caught.
Oh shit! Already? That your life of crime did not last very long.
No.
The entire thing just played out right on this stream in the last 3 minutes. So. Shit. Oh well. Now you're reformed. Find Jesus.
I'm gonna head off. Take care, guys.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Night, y'all.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna shut the stream. I'm gonna shut her down, you guys.
Shut her down. Shut her down.
Shutting her down. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, cruel world. Oh, let's see. How do I shut this damn thing down? Okay. We're shutting down. Good night, guys.
Bye.